Hello, my name is Darian Cantu, and I will be talking about colonial life, which lasted from 1565 to 1783. The colony's economy. Back in the days of the 13 colonies, economical terms were on Britain's side because of British merchants and taxing, but Americans also got supplies from buying from merchants. Not only that, they also grew crops, particularly rice, sugar, cane, indigo, tobacco, and cotton. The colonies became an important part of mercantilism, even though they didn't have vast supplies of gold and silver as been hoped. England's raw materials were limited, but the colonies were full of all kinds of resources that England needed. New England provided timber and ships. Most people worked, played, learned, and worshipped at home. A large family was necessary in colonial days to get all the work done. The father was considered the head of the household. He made all the decisions concerning their family and earned money through farming and jobs outside of home. Much of colonial life was hard work, even preparing food. But colonists found ways to mix work with play. They also enjoyed sports and games. For most of the 1700s, the colonists were content to be ruled by English laws. For the majority of the colonists, daily life consisted of supporting the profession the family was centered around. Nearly all rural communities were supported by farming, while the larger, more concentrated port cities were hubs for mercantile business and artisan trades. What was the culture of colonial America? The colonial era spanned 1492 to 1763. During this time, colonists came from many different countries to create new lives. The people spoke different languages, followed different religions, and had different customs and traditions. This lively mixture led to a vibrant and ever changing social society. To understand this further, recall that different cultures of European descendants started communities through the 13 colonies. English settlers dominated New England and Virginia, while a mixture of Dutch, Swedish, Irish, and German settled in mid Atlantic colonies. The American Revolution. The American Revolution was a conflict between Britain and the US over getting taxes while the British didn't, and other major reasons like always wanting money. In 1775, British and American troops started doing skirmishes on each other. A skirmish is a quick and deadly attack. These skirmishes were done by many Minutemen. They were called Minutemen for getting ready in a minute. A British Minuteman. June 17, Battle of Bunker Hill. The first major battle, the Battle of Bunker Hill, was a battle fought in between the British and Americans. Even though the Americans lost, they inflicted heavy casualties and went on to give morale to the U.S. soldiers. The Tea Act. The Tea Act was a law enforced by the British that made tea more expensive and also made the colonies buy tea from only one company. The colonists didn't like any part of this and started boycotting heavily. To boycott means to not buy from. The colonists strike back. It's a cold and smoky night. You are in bed, tucked in tight, when you hear them. On December 16, many people got onto British boats stationary on the dock. They hurled loads of tea into the ocean as protest for the Tea Act. According to some modern estimates, the destroyed tea could have brewed 18,523,000 cups of tea. That is a lot of tea. The Intolerable Act. When the British heard about the Boston Tea Party, they were steaming with anger. They passed a law called by the Americans the Intolerable Act. This was a set of laws that made everything taxed and more pricey, but one they got angered by the most was quartering. This meant that they had to occasionally quarter their belongings in house to passing British troops, which they thought was a violation of their constitutional rights. The Battle of Yorktown. The Battle of Yorktown was the true last battle of the Revolutionary War. French troops allied with U.S. troops, and they had trapped a major large British battalion on the peninsula. A peninsula is a piece of land surrounded by water on three of its sides. The French and U.S. troops circled all of the British troops, effectively winning the battle. After this bloody battle, they finally evacuated on their final stronghold in New York, getting out of USA. The Paris Treaty. In 1783, the Revolutionary War finally ended. The British finally recognized America's freedom and independence. This was a very great day for the U.S.